Okay, we have a busy day today. There'll be a lot to talk at this meeting, plus we have fantasy football, so we want to be out of here no later than 11:15. Let's see, we have any guests here? Mike, why don't you stand up and tell us in 1 minute or so something about yourself?
My name is Mike Pollock, and Herb made me come. No.
I can believe that.
That's it?
That's it? You got to have something about yourself.
Where do you live? What did you do?
I had a hardware store in that goat. And I retired. My wife been home for 16 years, and she's a quad, and now in a nursing home, so Herb's trying to save me.
I'm Bob Katz. I've been in Cherry Hills for 47 years. Same house in Woodcrest. I'm a retired chemical engineer. Went to Drexel. Grew up in Northeast Philadelphia. My wife died about 6 years ago. I have a wonderful girlfriend who just so happens to live across the street from me. She's been there for 47 years. Nothing happened before my wife died.
What year did you graduate from Drexel?
61.
Oh, okay. 64. 64. Yes. All right, another guest back there.
Hey, I'm Abrams. I'm son of Barry Abrams. Originally from Marlton. We moved there in 1980. I went to college in Maryland, Towson University. My wife and I moved to Northeast Philly. We were there for 2.5 years. And then for the last 3 years, I've been living in Middletown, Delaware.
Thank you. Anybody else? We have one more.
I brought him today because I'm schooling him in fantasy football, and he's my assistant coach.
Okay. He's going to lose. You are going to lose this year.
I'm Enzo now. I was going to say exactly the opposite of what you said.
Let me ask you, are you the brains behind fantasy football, or is it him?
You know him, so you guys can join.
Okay, all right. Anybody else? Oh, we have one more. Anybody else? Okay. I'm going to have Irv do the Motzi, but anybody who needs assistance, you're entitled to get up there first. Any guests will go up first, please. Let the guests go up first. Okay, Irv, would you do the Motzi?
Mike gave me historyology because he knew I was going to do Motzi. So I'm Motzi left.
Amen. Before we get started with the business portion of the meeting, just a couple of quick announcements. Mort Pomerantz is in the hospital right now. He had his knee replacement removed, and he's going to have a long rehab. So some of you guys may know him, but he's been through many surgeries. Second of all, Rabbi Iran, wherever you are, there you are. Well, welcome back from your little stay with the knee.
And I want to thank everyone who sent me cards, and it was really beautiful knowing that this group was behind me and supporting me. So thank you so very much.
Okay. All right. Beginning the meeting on September 13th, which is a Thursday night. The South Jersey Men's Club is going to be receiving from the JFCS the Community Partner Award for our work that we have done in the past, helping out with the food distribution, food sampling, food sort, whatever. Anything having to do with food, we've done a lot. A lot of guys here at this meeting have helped out, and they will be thanking us. Anybody who wants to come to the meeting, you're invited. I think there's a free dessert. There's no cost. However, you must call the JCC and make a reservation. You have till the end of this month to do so, and then they close down the number of people who can come. The meeting is not really for us. It's really for the incoming board of the JFCS, but we are going to be the recipients of this award. So, as I say, anybody who wants, please contact the JCC. Yes?
It's also for those people who participate, anybody can come, obviously. it's also for those people who transport the veterans and the little old ladies and so forth.
Okay.
Through the program at Jewish families.
Okay, thanks. Thanks, Ed. Dave Sucker? Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, Bob.
You can register online.
Hey, I couldn't find it.
No, it's very simple. It's at the bottom of the announcement.
Okay.
See it there. There's a little, no, there's a little website marker, which will take you to a page. You just fill it out and register you. They'll send you an email confirming.
Okay. All right, Dave, Sucker Construction?
Okay, gotta watch out, don't nibble
Watch
my
it.
laces right. Yeah. Each year for the last half a dozen or 10 years, this men's club has helped the JCC put up and take down its sukkah. We're just about at that time again. The sukkah is going to be put up on September 20th, which is a Thursday, and it's going to be taken down on October 3rd, which is a Wednesday. And they've asked again for us to help do that. Each year we've had about 10 guys that do that, and at the end of that, we start at 10 o'clock in the morning, and at the end of the time there's usually pizza given. It's not the best pizza in the world, but you know, if Jews work, they need to get some food. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pass this around on one table. Hopefully everybody at that table will do it and then pass on the next table. I'm looking, hopefully, again, to get about 10 people to do it. So let me start off with this table over here, and when you get to it, please, if you want to do it, sign up. And you sign up two places, one put up and one for take down. If you're interested in both, please put your name in both places. Thank you.
Put me down for both.
Okay, thank you.
One thing, we will send out an email for those people who sign up, just as a reminder. Schmendericks like me who can't put a nail in a wall, even I can do helping out. All right, Ed Stein, come on up. And you can explain about the dues. Well, I'll just briefly mention, dues beginning this year must be, hey guys, shush. Dues must be paid by the end of November, all right? In the past, we've been a little lackadaisical and we've gone out, several months beyond that, but we need the money to pay our bills, etc., and making it go out that long just causes a little bit of a problem. Okay, Ed.
At the last board meeting, we approved a continuation of the breakfast fee for $7, and also the dues will remain at $42. So that should serve us well for the budget for the coming year. So we'd like to get an approval from the membership of keeping everything the same. It was $7 and $42. And if somebody would like to make a motion to keep the dues and the breakfast fee the same?
Yeah, I'll make that motion. Keep the dues the same as they are.
Second? All in favor, hopefully? Thank you, thank you.
Okay. Guys. All right, guys, Ed Silva couldn't be here today, but Ed has been negotiating with Temple Emmanuel's men's club, and we will be having this year a combined meeting with them for the football portion of it, at least. Whether it's going to be a Sunday night football or it's going to be Monday night, that's unclear. But he asked me to ask the people here, whoever is going to be interested in going there, would you prefer a catered meal coming in there or bringing your own food? There are advantages and disadvantages of each, but Ed is going to present to them whatever we decide. So you don't have to give me an answer now, but just as a feeling, how many people would like to have it catered? Now, the catered probably is deli or pizza or something like that, but how many people would be interested in that? Anybody interested?
Is there an estimated cost?
Huh?
Is there an estimated cost yet?
No. Okay, thanks for the input.
How many want to bring their own?
Well, if you, okay, how many would like to bring their own? Okay. I don't know if there's any problem there with the kosher things, you know, whether it has to be kosher or not. We will find that out. Ed also asked me to tell you about, and this is a reminder, and any accountants or lawyers in here, they can refute what I'm going to say. I'm sure most of the people here are doing their RMD, required minimum distribution for IRAs. One thing you can do, and I don't know how recent this is, let's say you belong...
Not that old.
Okay. Some of us are. Let's say you belong to a synagogue and you have to pay your dues to the synagogue. Normally, I assume you've written a check and just given it to them. What you can do is, from your RMD, just let's assume you're dealing with a broker, call the broker, tell them to write a check directly to the synagogue for the amount, and that money is not taxable. All right? It's not taxable. It's not taxable. Right, you can't take a deduction. But the way things are this year, there's going to be a lot of people who are not going to be itemizing based on the new tax laws. So it's something to consider.
Any charity is something.
Any charity, but it must be made directly to the charity. Okay. After this meeting, we're going to have fantasy football downstairs. There'll be some refreshments, you know, soda, potato chips, things like that. So I'm going to hope that we start around 11:30 at the latest. It'll be downstairs in the boardroom. Yes. What? You can't hear you? Oh, can you hear me now? All right.
Morning, can I just comment on that?
Sure. Guys.
Across from the library. If you're even interested in observing it, you're welcome to come. It's going to be a little tight because we have a lot of people involved, but if you just want to see how it runs in case you might be interested in getting involved next year, you're more than welcome.
Okay, thanks, Don. Mitzvah cards, and if anybody's interested in mitzvah cards, getting a package of them or individual, see Phil or Ed. What are they? Mitzvah cards are cards that you can purchase from us and send them out to individuals for happy events, sad events, etc. And essentially, you're making a donation to the South Jersey Men's Club, but the card is being sent out to the individual itself. You know, there's a stamp with it. The package, I think, is $25 for 6 cards. If you want to make an individual, you can also do that. That's $5, or you can call Len Berman. Or you can do it on the website, yes. All right, we are going to attempt to make a presentation here. I could not get a connection to the internet, so I have a quick type of a PowerPoint presentation. We're going to try to explain to you how to log into the South Jersey Men's Club website, how to turn around and pay your dues. You are now capable of paying your dues online with a credit card. It doesn't cost any more than $42. The South Jersey Men's Club is absorbing the cost of whatever the transaction is for the $42. And the last item is we're going to show you how you can make donations on the website. So I'm going to turn that on, and hopefully somebody can handle that for me. By the way, at each table there is a copy of the slides, so you might want to look at them. This slide is first of all, to get to the South Jersey Men's Club site, it's sjmclub.org. Don't worry about the HTTPS and everything else. Just you type that in. You'll get this screen that's on over here. Well, go back, Mike, just for a second. To log in, on the right-hand corner, there's a member login. You'll push that, and you'll get a pull-down, and one of them is to log in. Your user ID typically will be your first initial and your last name. So, like, for instance, with me, it's M. Raffner. Now, most of you haven't tried this yet, so obviously you're going to have to establish yourself with a password. Next slide, Mike. After you tried it with not having any password, you'll get an opportunity to say you forgot your password. And of course, since you didn't know it in the first place. So anyway, you'll say, I forgot my password, and something similar to this will be presented to you. It will be sent to your email, all right? Most of you, we have an email address. So at that point in time, when you go to the email, you'll click that hyperlink down at the bottom of the screen, and that will verify that it was you that it was sent to. Next slide. At that point in time, you will have you'll get the opportunity to put in the password, and I think you have to verify the password, but whatever it is. If you have any troubles, just give me a call, and I can somehow set the password for you. Okay, donation, making dues payments. On most of the screens, there's something in the right-hand side that looks like that. All right, so we'll do the first one first, the dues payment. You click the dues payment. You'll turn around and it should be set up. You'll click that button down the bottom where it's circled, saying you're making a donation. It's pre-assigned for $42. You'll fill in all the necessary information with the credit card. It's not saved anywhere, so don't worry about it. If you feel uncomfortable and you have multiple credit cards, use the one that you use the least. Okay, for donation, it's very similar. The variable is that you're going to put in the amount of money, and you're going to hit the donate button. Next. And then you will turn around and get a screen like this. There's a circle around where it says note, which is right under the amount. Obviously, you want to tell us why you're making a donation. So let's say you were making a donation for mitzvah cards. You know, you wanted to send a $5 mitzvah card, or you want to just give us money because you're a nice guy, right? You'd fill all that stuff in and then let it rip. Okay, what do we got over here? Okay, documents. Documents, there's a section on the web page that everybody can see. Everybody means anybody who belongs to the South Jersey Men's Club. There are documents that, for instance, if you did not belong to the South Jersey Men's Club and you try to come into the system, you will not be able to see it. So those documents, in order to see them, you have to turn around. You have to have been logged in. Again, you'd hit that top page where normally it says log in, and you would choose documents. Next. You would get a screen looking something like that. All right. Then you hit that, and you would see right now there are 2 or 3 folders there. Excuse me, you have one folder with 2 or 3 documents there, and you would just click it, and it would open up just like anything else. Typically, there'll be PDFs. PDF is capable of being read on the phone or on your computer. I think that is it. So again, there are copies of the slides on the table, and if you need additional, I have a few extras here, or I could send them to you via email. Just let me know. Yes.
Membership list?
Right now, the membership list is not on there. The board right now is keeping that as a decision that we have to make, but it's not available to the general. It may go on there because there's information on there like people here, you know, your telephone number, your cell number. Not everybody, you may not want to have everybody know that. So we still have to discuss that at the board meeting. Okay? All right. Yay. All right.
Good morning.
Yes.
50-50, we're kind of short here today.
A little schwach.
If anybody would like to participate, come over here and give us your money. Or we'll come to you if you raise your hand.
Gonna pay up? What?
I'm gonna buy it too.
All right. In 2 minutes, Dave Schwartz will get up to do his mini presentation.
Good morning. A couple things for those of you who don't know. Once a month, this men's club goes over to Lions Gate for a breakfast, which they serve lox and bagel. Always 99% of the time, the third Thursday of each month, 10:30 to noon. What we do is we go with 2 or 3 of us from the club, and we get a speaker. Let me tell you who's there. It's the assisted living wing. We get about 10 to 12 residents of that facility, and we have 2 or 3 nurses, aides who come. They serve breakfast and bring the people down, take them back to their rooms. It's a nice group, all attentive. Most just sit and watch. Some do ask questions. But the reason I'm telling you this is twofold. One is if anyone would like to come along, you're more than welcome. We generally limit it to 2 or 3 of us from our group. You'll be out by noon. The other is if anyone would like to speak, anyone here who has a specialty, whether you're retired or not, and can give up a morning and come with us and talk about something of interest that these people might find interesting, I would appreciate it. So after today's meeting, or call me up or email me, I would be delighted to take you along. Reason is we went for about a year, once a month, and try to think up things that would interest these guys, and you run out of ideas. It gets very difficult, so please let me know if you'd like to come with us.
Just one thing. Like last week, we were over there, and Rich Dutton made a presentation on coin collecting. It was quite interesting. And he passed coins around to everybody to take a look. Some of them were from Roman times.
Yeah.
Could do the same thing again, they're not gonna remember.
You know,
You'll be there soon.
don't bet on it. You'd be surprised. Next month's meeting, next month our speaker is Sherry Fort, who works for the rehab center downstairs here, the physical therapy place. By the way, they've just been bought by Virtua. So for whatever that's worth, she will come and talk about elder care, back problems, and ways of trying to get limiting the discomfort. So please come for that. I don't know whether this was mentioned this morning, September 20th, the JFCS is asking our help in unloading food for their food sort down at the Commons down the street, and the actual food sort is the 23rd of September. Lastly, Bernie Shuster, our speaker. Please welcome Bernie, who's going to show a part of an hour-plus long movie. We have a tentative plan that you're going to watch a segment of it this morning, and Bernie is going to invite you somewhere to see the rest of it. He has his 1976 Cadillac Eldorado convertible outside for those who are interested to see after the meeting. Welcome, Bernie Shuster.
Presentation to the nursing home, or do you think you'd have enjoyed it?
Yes.
Good morning, good morning. Thank you for inviting me, and I appreciate making my story. I've been in the truck and car business for 50 years, and I've enjoyed it. And I've had a lot of fun, and I met a lot of interesting people. And I brought some pictures in my car, and it's really been exciting. I was born in Philadelphia, raised in Washington, D.C. I was a member of the ROTC there, and I was assigned to the White House, and I stood next to Eisenhower when he lit the Christmas tree in 1959. And that was exciting. And I met Mamie Eisenhower and all the people, and he was charming. He was a 5-star general, and he was fantastic. I went to the same high school with Ed Snyder. A lot of people I went to high school with became the biggest lawyers in Washington and ran for mayor, and it was exciting. And Richard Hinton had one of the biggest clothing stores, Britches, and he sold it for $100 million. Meantime, my father, wonderful man, very generous, he passed away in '59, and my mother said, if you boys want to eat, you better go to work. So I said, well, I like eating, so I'm going to work. And I've been working ever since. We came back to Philadelphia, and I went into the truck and car business with Hertz, and I worked there for 5 years. I was a top man for all 5 years, sold more leases and more trucks and more rentals and everything, and Hertz was the largest in the country. Luckily, I went to New York, met Jimmy Hoffa, scared the crap out of me, and I came back. So I then, believe me, Jimmy Hoffa was exciting. He said, your truck's going to be in the river tomorrow, and they sure were. So that scared the hell out of me. I came back to Philadelphia, and I joined Brind Leasing. a very small independent leasing company. Ira Brin was a charming individual. His family owned it, and they had 37 employees, less than $1 million in sales, and they were nice people. So 17 years later, I helped develop that into the largest independent leasing company with 7,500 trucks and cars, 21 locations, over $40 million in sales, and we had 450 people, and McDonnell Douglas bought us for a lot of money. And I retired, and I got bored, so I went and bought truck and car dealerships. I have operations in Florida, 7 locations, and I was on the board of directors of McDonnell Douglas, and they merged with Boeing. And luckily, my Boeing stock is doing very well. Meantime, I gave out a lot of handouts. The opening is Simeon. I'm a friend of Fred Simeon, and he has one of the largest antique truck car collections in the world. These are actual cars that won the races, and it's a fascinating place. So I'd like to see if we can get everyone, or whoever wants to go. October 27th, they're doing Corvettes, and he has a fascinating collection of Corvettes. And what he does, he takes them in the backyard, and he races them around the backyard, and he explains all about it. So this brochure tells what's going on for the remainder of the year. You're welcome to go with me. I will explain to you how it works, and you can touch and feel the cars, and he'll explain each thing to it. He basically rents out his place for events. He's had all kinds of events there. And he's right behind Pacifico Ford, and it's a lovely place. I mean, I stored his cars over the years at my locations, and I became hands-on with them. The most fascinating thing I did is DuPont, Kevin DuPont, came up there to drive his cars. He has 2 cars there. And these are DuPonts built back in the 30s. And he didn't know how to work it, so I went with him. I showed him how to work it, and his wife, Kitty, is sitting behind me. And I said, my God, it gets no better than this. I'm sitting next to Kevin DuPont, that owns DuPont Chemical Company, and his wife is sitting behind me, and I'm explaining to him how to drive his car, the ancestor's car, of course. And one of the DuPonts were president of General Motors, and they're just really exciting. So over the years, I've met some excellent people. Jay Leno, Jerry Seinfeld, Bill Cosby, Chubby Checker, Bobby Rydell, and they all collect cars. And I have pictures up here of their cars and my cars. And what I'm going to show is a movie of a fellow whose name is Jeff Mull, and it's in the package. His great-grandfather, named George Shuster, no relationship, drove a car around the world in 1908. Thomas Flyer automobile. No roads, no gas stations, no nothing. And he did it. He actually won the race, and they made a movie about him called Around the World in 80 Days, and Tony Curtis played his part. Well, it took him 169 days, but they, for whatever reason, made the movie. And if you look at the picture, he's actually behind the steering wheel. And this was a picture in Popular Mechanics magazine that I saved. And Jay Leno, me, and Jeff Mull are going to go to the VA hospital in Vineland and make a presentation to the vets. And that's going to be exciting. And I'm going to try to make that, I just talked about the nursing home doing the same thing and doing these presentations at different VA hospitals and different hospitals to try to cheer them up and try to, show some interest for them. The other thing which is interesting is my club is going to be putting on a presentation at the Haddonfield. We do it every year, and at the Silver Diner, and you're all welcome. The Silver Diner is September 3rd from 8:30 to 12. We try to break it up early on Labor Day, and the Haddonfield is September 15th from 9 to 4, and we give out prizes and we give out all kinds of good stuff. I also put a application. If you want to join our club, it's free the first year, and I'll help you with that. You don't have to have an antique car. You can just want to learn about antique cars and what we do. We meet in Haddonfield, the City Hall, and I enjoy it, and I enjoy all these things. In the meantime, some of the most funnest things I've done is kind of bizarre. I ran for a freeholder, lost. I bought the American Bandstand building on 48th and Market, and we tried to make it into the Rock and Roll Museum and a car museum. I bought Elvis Presley's Corvette, and we lost to Cleveland because our Mayor Good blew up Osage Avenue and they didn't want to have the museum there. So meantime, the area is really coming about. It's a civic center now. The people running it are helping kids in the neighborhood. I did a TV commercial. I did the Jersey Boy show. I was involved in the Atlantic City auction, and I've driven senators and committeemen and all kinds of good stuff. And the car has won over 40 trophies and awards so far. The car's parked right in front of the place, and I'll show you my car and my stuff after the presentation. And I'm going to now show the movie, and if you have questions now or after or during the movie, I'll be glad to answer them. And I would always enjoy showing this movie and presentation to anyone that's interested. And I try to, it's kind of neat. I mean, I've been in the car and truck business for 50 years, and I've been very lucky. I can touch wood that I've been very fortunate. And we sold our company for a lot of money, and I retired, so I can do whatever I want and help whatever people need help. And I'm a Mason, I'm a Shriner, I'm a Golden Slipper, so I do all these good things. Enjoy the movie, and if you have any questions, I'll answer them after the movie.
How long is the movie?
The movie's about 45 minutes, but we'll cut it short if we have to, and I'll show it again. If we have to cut it, I will either show it here again, or at my house, or somewhere else. It's a very fascinating movie. The great-grandson, Jeff Lowell, does it as if he's the great-grandfather, or he's George Shuster, and what he went through. Now, you got to remember, there were no roads, no gas stations, no nothing. And he drove the car from New York City, Times Square, to California. They were trying to go up to the Alaska to go across the Baltic Street, but it didn't happen because it wasn't frozen. So they brought the cars back down to San Francisco and then took a boat across to China. And then he was shot at by the Indians, by the Chinese. I mean, this is like, wow, talk about an experience. And if you ever saw the movie with Tony Curtis, it was exciting. It was really neat. And this shows what he did. He was on television, and that was amazing. I mean, I never met him because he passed away a long time ago. The other thing which I want to share with you, and it's over here on the table, my uncle Herman Perlman did religious art in glass, and his piece is in the door of the Holocaust Museum downstairs, and he's done pieces for all the synagogues, a lot of different dignitaries of the government, and I helped him many times, and it's a fascinating book. I got it up here, and I'm also in the book of the Battleship New Jersey. I was one of the founding members of restoring it, and the Jewish Museum. So, being retired and having a lot of time on your hands, you can do a lot of neat things. Enjoy the movie. The Thomas Flyer Company was promoted by Theodore Roosevelt to do the race. Ford and GM and most of the other companies didn't want to tackle it because it was too challenging. They just felt it was just too much, and the cost was staggering. In fact, by the time they finished the race, they spent over $300,000, and they ended up going broke. So, back then in 1908, $300,000 was a lot of money.
How long was that car restored?
It was restored, I think, back in the 50s. It's now in a
Chain drive?
chain drive, yeah. They have it in a museum in Arizona, and the appraisal value, the insurance value, is over $40 million.
Hey, Bernie, maybe I missed this, but you said it's a race.
It was a race.
Who else was involved?
The Germans, the English, the French, and the Italians.
They all started in the same place?
They all started in Times Square in New York City. And it was a big to-do. And they all went across the United States, fought the Indians, it was just a real... And George Shuster helped out a lot of the other people because they weren't established. I mean, this race was really kind of funky. I mean, they had no gas stations, no highways.
Was the car manufactured in the United States?
Yeah, it was manufactured in upstate New York.
And was that a regular car company?
Yeah, it was a regular car company. Back then, there were 100 car companies. This is hard to believe, but in the turn of the century, there was 100 car companies. They had Duesenberg, they had every make imaginable. Jay Leno has most of the different brands. But the problem was, they couldn't survive the Depression. I mean, most of them went broke during the Depression. Well, even Chrysler and GM went broke, so what does it tell you? It's kind of a crappy business. That's why I'm out of this.
Could you tell us something about the car?
The car, basically...
We're going to have to kill the video. We have no real output here, so
Oh, crap. What happened?
we need an external speaker.
You have no external... Oh, you're kidding. Oh, well, another day, another time.
So, one thing that Abe was talking about is the movie with Tony Curtis, I think it was called The Great Race. Yes. I'm sure most of you have seen it. Tony Curtis is in there with Jack Lemmon. He's in there with Jack Lemmon and Natalie Wood. And the guy who played Columbo. It's a very, very humorous picture, but it shows this old, antiquated car. And I'm sure it's probably similar to what Bernie's talking about. Okay.
The end result was the challenges were astronomical. And the movie shows all the challenges they went through. And it took them 169 days, not 80 days. And they finally got it back to Paris. The race was supposed to go from New York to California up to Alaska and go across. They were going to drive across the straits, but they weren't frozen. So they had to come back down to San Francisco, take it by ship across to China, and then from China they went across to Paris. Now, in the movie, the passenger was a reporter for the New York Times. So it has pictures of all the different events and all the different things. And that's what's so fascinating about the movie. You can actually see the actual pictures and the actual hardships they went through. So I may have to come back and show the movie again. You tell me when.
Okay.
Is there any external speakers downstairs?
We'll bring somebody, I'm sure.
Or you can all come to my house. And we can all...
Download it on the website.
It says you're not allowed to reproduce, I'm sure we can.
Yeah.
Listen, I have the same setup. This is a separate cord that you have to have between the computer and the projector in order to project the sound, even on a laptop. If you don't have that connection, you're not going to be able to do it.
Oh, boy. Well, let me go downstairs and see if anyone down there has something we could help. I'm not sure if that's proper, but I'll come back another time and bring the film with me and show it again. Thank you. Oh, by the way, if you're not interested in anything I've given out, please turn it back because I'm going to use it at the VA hospital and try to, give it out to them. So I'd appreciate it. If you are interested, come see me. I'll help you out on anything you need. But if you're not, give me back everything.
Wait a minute. Art Course wants to make a quick 2-minute presentation, but I didn't get the okay.
One sec. Morning, everyone. Normally, at the conclusion of the men's club meeting, we hold an investment club meeting, but due to the fantasy football draft, that won't happen today. I sent an email to everyone on my mailing list asking if you were interested in holding a meeting Wednesday or Thursday of this coming week. I need someone to host the meeting, and I need to find out what kind of interest there is in having the meeting. If you're a member of the investment club and you didn't receive the email, let me know so I can make sure that you're on my mailing list. So in the absence of a meeting this week, we'll have our next meeting at the conclusion of the next men's club meeting.
My car will be outside. Anyone wants to see the trophies or anything else, I'll be glad to show it to them.
Bernie, a
Thank you.
certificate of appreciation.
Thank you very much.
Hang it on the wall.
Hang it on. Put it with all the other good stuff.
One last thing before we do the fifth. Oh, look, you got to come back, Bernie. Bernie.
Oh, come back.
Come back here.
Need a picture.
Get a picture again.
Do you want the trophy?
We have $50, it was 100 and 50% is $50, so that's the prize today for the 50-50. 50-50-50. Woo. Last three numbers, 267.
Not even close.
267.
Whoa, Rabbi.
See that? I told you. I have to tell you, Rabbi didn't want the tickets this morning. I said, Rabbi, take them. You can always donate the money.
Back to the men's club. We can do that.
Thank you. One last thing. Today we started buying bagels from downstairs. So does anybody, if they want to make a comparison with what we have today versus what we've had before, do you like these better? They're the same? You don't like them? Whatever. Any inputs? You don't like them? We have one with a...
I thought it was great.
Okay, very good.
Guys, next meeting in September, it will be the 4th week, not the 5th, because the 5th week of September is a Jewish holiday. So it's the 4th week of September. Have a good one. Have a safe Labor Day. And fantasy football will be beginning soon. Thank you. Downstairs.